Hello again, my name's Paul Morrison. It's been great to have these chats in conjunction with creating communities stronger together. We've been joined by a number of professionals and people of experience in our community helping us navigate this season of COVID-19. And joining us today is Jodii Maguire from Think Performance Psychology. G'day, Jo.
Hey, Morrow, how are you?
I'm very well. What is a performance psychologist up to at this time?
Well, a performance psychologist is in between busy and extremely busy at the moment, just helping businesses and individuals and sporting teams navigate the new world that we're moving towards.
What are some of those new challenges that you're seeing, Jo, in the time of the coronavirus with your line of work?
Yeah, I think it fundamentally comes back to the fact that we are creatures of habit and routine, particularly in our society. We live with a lot of predictability and a lot of structure and a lot of certainty around a number of things. And I think that suddenly, and this wasn't a gradual thing, this was a sudden thing that has disappeared from lots of elements of our lives. So I guess that's where the bulk of the time is being spent, is trying to understand how to get some control, how to get a little bit of certainty, how to get a bit more predictability back, given our current situation.
Is it fair to say, you mentioned the suddenness, that the last few weeks a lot of people have been dealing with the initial shock, and if we play that forward, there's a number of stages that we might be travelling through if you think of it through a loss mindset and a grief mindset?
Yeah, absolutely. If you do compare it to a loss, which there's loss of jobs, loss of income, loss of identity, loss of social networks, there's lots of loss. There are some stages that people will go through, but it's important to recognise that we won't all follow those specific stages, and that some people won't necessarily follow that pathway. That some people will be okay. Some people are coping okay. And they're unsure as to whether that's okay to say they're okay. And there's a lot of us who aren't okay, that it's encouraging to see that we're opening those communication channels. So everybody's going to be challenged by different things in this circumstance in current times.
What are some of the healthy coping mechanisms that I guess, encouraging people to latch onto at this time?
Some of the healthy ones, I think it's important to, if you are okay, to be okay with that. So, that's the one thing that I've been surprised by, is the range of reaction to this. Some people are really devastated and have lost jobs and absolutely fear for the future right now. And some people are saying that it's manageable, and have they missed something? And that may be because they're a little bit more organised in their life, or they haven't been impacted in the same way with loss of income or loss of jobs. So I think it's important one of the most important coping strategies is to be travelling your own path through this and not doing that social comparison. So if somebody else is struggling and you're not, then that's okay. Keep doing what you're doing. If someone else looks like they're going okay and you're struggling, ask for help, seek help. If you need help, ask for help. So the number one coping thing is to travel your own pathway through this, or travel your family's pathway through this.
Yeah, that suits you best. What about those specifically that have a heightened anxiety simply because of the uncertainty as to the timeline of this? There's so many variables about what if and what could go wrong.
Well, we're seeing a lot more anxiety in the community at the moment, and that's natural because the basis of anxiety is obviously fear and a lack of tolerance for uncertainty, and we're living in uncertain times. So of course we were going to see anxiety spike. So I think, number one, be okay with that. Forgive yourself and be patient with yourself for feeling anxious. But one of the things that I've worked through with a number of people is to break that down. So rather than go, I'm anxious, it's more about, I feel anxious. So understand that anxiety is a part of you, not all of you. And that way you can just break it down into, what are the things that are making me feel anxious? And you can tackle them one by one, because we have that little bit more time and bandwidth at the moment to be able to deal with the things that we're trying to address and trying to fix. So creating almost a to-do list around your anxiety, or a what is causing me anxiety list, and putting some strategies in place around those things.
What about people? Yeah, what about people dealing with the unique challenges now where they find themselves with their whole family in the house all day long, their children home from school, they're working from home? What would you say to people in that situation?
Well, I'm living that. So I now have 3 kids at home, plus shortly I'll have my husband at home as well, and we'll all be operating from different parts of the house. So I've had to think about this from a really practical perspective, not just the theory, not just what sounds right. So some of the things that we've done that have proven to be working in the last 2 weeks, because my kids have been out of school for a couple of weeks now, is really sticking to a routine. And that means they stick to their schooling routine, and I'm sticking to what would look like my work routine. So I'm following that pattern of still getting up in the morning to exercise, to enjoy my coffee on my own before everyone gets up, let the melatonin disappear by getting some sunlight on me. And then the kids will wake up, do breakfast. They will get changed, might sound a little crazy, but they get changed into what looks like a school uniform. So either their school t-shirt or their school shorts, just so that we can separate the daily chores of school and work from, after that's finished, how do we come back to being ourselves? So really creating some separation between school and work. And for me, it's about when I finish my work day, that's it for work, just like the girls as well. So they finish school, they go out and play, do sport, puzzles, draw, get an hour of Netflix or whatever it is that they want to do, because they've got to continue to live normally. So it's about setting up that routine and then letting go of that routine and leaving it at the desk that you're working at.
And fair to say, as you mentioned right at the beginning, we're creatures of habit. We love our routine. The quicker we can set healthy ones in this new context, the better off we'll be.
Yeah, and it's about trial and error. So it's not just about suddenly going, I know I have to set up a work routine and what will that look like? It's about trying things and changing them as they need to be changed, and keeping that communication open about that, because there is no right or wrong. There are no simple decisions in all of this. You know, our well-being is being impacted from our social perspective, our financial perspective, our identity perspective, our emotional perspective, physical. So that's all changed. So it's about trying some things out and then finding out they do or don't work and having another go. So being patient and being forgiving.
Yes, very good. Now, finally, one of the common themes throughout this has been the need to stay connected, that we are stronger together. What would your stronger together tip be for the broader community?
It's not lip service to say stay connected. So I think we keep hearing stay physically active, stay mentally well, stay connected. But I don't think we've made a plan around that next, because we've stepped into what does it look like with kids at home? What does it look like working from home? It's really important to understand what is your connection plan. So we've set up and scheduled in some time to talk to grandma, because she's living on her own. And so we get to check in on her, make sure she's well, but also get to talk about our day. So we try to schedule that for 5-10 minutes after dinner every night, say hello to her and good night to her. So scheduling those things in is really important. And it was my eldest birthday yesterday. And
Happy
so that's
birthday.
thank you, first quarantine birthday. And what we did was we set up the computer with the cake. So we cut the cake and sang happy birthday. We zoomed everybody in and all sang happy birthday and cut the cake and talked to each other for half an hour with that, which didn't know how it was going to go. It was a bit clunky. Everybody was talking over the top of each other. But once we got through those hiccups, it was actually really nice to connect, because we've been isolating, as I mentioned to you recently, for about a week and a half now. And I hadn't realised how much I'd missed it until I had them all on the screen. So it was really good for me to be able to do that. And I'm usually pretty good in my own company, but I hadn't realised how much I'd missed it. So I think it's important to make sure we're scheduling some of that time in, as well as the work time and the school time and those kind of things. Just as important.
Yeah. Well, it's been great to connect with you, Jo, today. Been great to chat, and some great advice there. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
That's Jodii Maguire there from Think Performance Psychology, and you can join more of these conversations stronger together at your Creating Communities platform. Remember, until we talk again and have another conversation, stay safe, look after each other, follow the government's guidelines around COVID-19, and hold on to the truth. We are stronger together.